How's it going,
Hey, good
guys?
afternoon. Hey, everybody. I think we're going to take a few minutes, let some more people join us today, but so far it looks like a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, we're looking forward to talking to everyone today, and thank you all for chiming in the chat of where you guys are all from. Um, just so you guys know, a little introduction about myself. I am Zach. I'm one of the territory sales managers here at Kalogon. I manage the Southwestern Medical Group as well as Target Medical, which is a little vast majority of the country. I think it's like 51% of the country, and Andy also covers the other amount. So I'll let Andy introduce himself.
Hey, everybody. Andy Maddux. Yeah, I cover everything that Zach doesn't. So I guess the other 49%. I've been with Kalogon since the beginning of the year. Really excited to be here and share some of what we've been working on.
Yeah, and today, just so you guys know, we're going to go over our three products. We're going to go over Orbiter Med, Bondar, and Booster. And then, whenever you guys have any questions throughout the whole process, please feel free to jump in and chime in the chat. And then, once we're finished, also, we're going to go through some of the areas we're going to be out in the field coming up. So, just to see if we'll be out in your area here in the next couple months.
Hey, we got folks from everywhere
Yeah. I see
joining us
Mr.
today.
John Wigger is in the call. Hey, John, I will be on a call with you later today. So looking forward to chatting with you later. We will give about a couple more minutes for people to join in, and then we're going to get started going over a little bit about Calagon, and then also the Orbiter Med we'll start off with first.
And Zach, you just got back from a trip, right? This week.
Yes, I was out at the NSM show in Nashville, the NSM Momentum Academy in Nashville. Me and my colleague Tracy were out there. It was really good. We had a good turnout. I think we got about 40, 50 good solid leads. So it was really good to meet some new ATPs and some ones we'd already worked with in the past.
Fantastic. I know I'm going out to Anaheim for another NSM show next week, so excited to get out there.
Nice. That'll be fun. Yeah, those NSM shows are always a great time to get out and meet some of our ATPs as well as clinicians that work really well with some of our dealers. Oh, we have someone in here from London too. Well, that's very fun. Across the pond. Um, all right, so Andy, I think we can go ahead
You
and
ready to
dive
get
in.
started?
Yeah,
Cool.
that way we can go over all the products and then give people enough time to ask some questions.
Yeah, and if you have questions throughout, please chime in on the chat. We'll do our best to catch those and answer those for you. But yeah, so I think we're ready to get started with the Orbiter Med. Tracy, are you able to share the? Yep, there it goes. Yeah, so this is the Orbiter Med. It's our E2609 custom coated cushion. So you can see right there, it has some contours to it. All of those contours they come on the thick foam base of the cushion, which is customizable. You can kind of see the along the cantles. I don't believe that one has a pummel, but there's different levels of customizations you can do along that base to really kind of promote that really secure and safe seating experience. And what really kind of sets our cushion apart, you can kind of see it in that photo, is that inside of that cushion, there's going to be 5 anatomically placed air cells. And those are what are going to be able to power our advanced pressure management system, which is housed in that control box, which is inside of that mount pouch. And that's really kind of the secret and the real power of the Orbiter Med cushion is that with that customization of the base, those air cells are able to be controlled and have prescribed pressure levels to be able to promote that skin integrity and comfort and be able to influence the user's posture. So the advanced pressure management system, you can kind of see it on the app there, represents each one of those bladders underneath the ITs, underneath the hips and the trochanters, and then underneath the thighs. So the advanced pressure management system cycles the air through those, as well as is able to maintain those prescribed levels on the app. So it really kind of creates like a secondary level of customization on top of that thick base layer. The second part of it, that's really one of my favorite pieces of it, especially when we have folks who try it out for the first time, is the adaptive reactive customization, where if an individual has those prescribed levels set in the app, it's going to be able to respond to the shifts in their weight. We know folks sit differently in the afternoon or sit differently during the morning. It will be able to respond to those shifts in weight and shifts in posture throughout the day and respond accordingly. And the third piece of all inside this control box is that it is able to use our ambient sensing system where it can pick up on the minor changes in the environment, whether it's changes in the temperature, altitude, air pressure. It's able to accommodate those and maintain those prescribed pressure levels. Um, and this is a really good picture of our app, which this is really fun where, a lot of people we work with are either very tech inclined and they love having this type of customization available at their fingertips, or we also have folks who like to have the app set maybe at an appointment or when it's delivered and not have to worry about it until that next appointment. But there is a lot of customization available inside that app. One of our most popular features is you can kind of see it up there where it says default. You can set up to 9 different presets. We have folks who set it up with like 100 for having a kind of a transfer mode. There's people who set it for different pairs of shoes, different activities, just really being able to kind of have that automated customization at the touch of their fingertips. Um, Actually, at this time, there isn't a lockout feature. That's something we're definitely considering. That's a great question. Um, just with it is connected via Bluetooth to the cushion. So, we technically can limit it if they don't have a cell phone, but if they do have a cell phone, they can download the Kalogon app and be able to access it at this point. But that's something that we definitely have heard a lot about of having that kind of lockout option. That's a great question. Thank you, Lois. Um, but you can kind of see also that app is where we can control the redistribution mode. That's one of those areas where going back to the advanced pressure management system, you can really control the flow of air throughout those cushions or throughout the bladders inside of the cushion to really protect that skin integrity. Is there anything I'm missing, Zach? I know I'm just kind of going through it.
No, so you've been doing great. The one main thing Andy was saying with the app is you don't have to necessarily use the app every day. So that's one common misconception is like we have to have the app open every day for the cushion to work and function properly. So if you don't have the app downloaded on your phone, all you have to do is just hit the power button on the control unit and then make sure that green light comes on. And then at night, you just want to make sure you charge it. It takes about 4 hours to get a full charge when it's completely dead. And then we offer accessories like the XLR charger, where you can actually charge the control unit, which is pictured here, right there, and you can charge that directly from the XLR port on the power wheelchair. So that way you don't have to really worry about charging it overnight. You can charge it during the day when you're using your wheelchair.
Yeah, we also have some really great other accessories. We have a switch extender that can connect where you'd be able to have all those controls on the control box at your fingertips. So you could turn it on, see the status light, you can plug it in as well um, to have that type of capability.
In Lois, it's about
Yes,
a pound and a half for the control box. It shouldn't add too much weight to the chair. Typically, on a manual chair, if we mount it towards the middle, it won't affect the center of gravity much. So we haven't heard any negative feedback on the control box being mounted on a manual wheelchair. We just recently started doing both of our mounts with each of the different orders. So you get our 3D printed mount, which we see could be really helpful if you want to have it in like a really fixed position. And then we also have a mount pouch, which is like a little mini backpack for the control unit. And that'll come standard, which you can see right there. And that makes it really easy to mount on a manual wheelchair.
and we were just looking at a picture additionally, like you can kind of see that incontinence cover on the inside. Each one of it does include an incontinence cover as well underneath that kind of foam outer cover. Let's see if it'll, there it is. So underneath that is where you'll see the air bladder. Underneath that incontinence cover is where you would see the air bladders and that thick foam base. Um, but yeah, as we are saying at the top, that it is an E2609 coated cushion. So there are, definitely take a look at our quote request form to see some of those visual, be able to visualize it easier. But there are kind of a series of customizations that are required to hit that code, as well as there's a couple of requirements for a letter of medical necessity to uh, be able to apply for that code as well. And that's something that we can provide to you if you have any questions. That was developed with our clinical advisor. Um, But yeah, does anybody else have any other questions about the Orbiter Med?
Next,
These
if
have all
we
been pretty
don't,
good questions so far.
yeah. If you don't have any other questions, we can transition on to Bondar, which is our E2617 back. Um, but I want to make sure I give a couple seconds for people still to write any questions they might have on Orbiter Med. Orbiter Med we've had in the field for a little over a year now. So we've had some really great feedback. We've always taken feedback from our clinicians we're working with, our ATPs, our independent reps, and our end users, and taking that feedback and making updates to it. So we roll out little updates to our phone app. So like when we find like little bugs in the control unit, or if we have a new feature we want to roll out, it'll all be done via the app. So it's really easy to download. It'll just have like a little pop up in the app. You just hit update. Make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi and in your Bluetooth radius, and then you'll be good to go with all the latest and greatest features. Um, and if you don't download the latest update, your control unit won't like start having a bad battery life, kind of like an iPhone or something like that. But you'll just not have some like maybe like the latest like updates with like maybe a new configuration or something. Um, but it'll still work the exact same without having it constantly updated in case they don't have like a smartphone. But since no other questions have come in, we can jump into Bondar. So Bondar is our newly released product. It's an E2617 back, which is so it's a custom configured back where we have an order form that is completely online. Oh, I see a question popping in real quick. Is there a program for inflating and deflating the bladders over a prolonged period? Solve the bladders alleviate any pressure. Yeah, so whenever you have that, Dominic, whenever you have the cushion in redistribution mode, it's going to be doing those pressure reliefs throughout all the cells along the back constantly throughout the day. So if you're on the you're on the 2 minute mode, it'll drop your pressure down in one cell, raise it back up, and then go to the next one every 2 minutes, and so on and so forth. So as long as that's turned on in the app, you will constantly have that element of motion going on. And then even if you had that turned off, it would still be sensing how you're sitting and adjusting with you. Um, to alleviate some pressure in case like you start loading one of like your ITs or something. Um, but back on the Bondar, so it's going to be it's E2617, and it's custom configured, and our order form is really cool. I think it's what really separates Bondar from other products out there. The order tool allows you to completely customize the Bondar with via measurements, but then see the 3D model of the Bondar in real time adjust with your measurements. So we can get as small as 12 inches in width and height, or go as big as 25 by 25 for the back. And then you can do a lot of different cool customizations. You can do biangular reliefs. We can do back reliefs as well. So if you want to have like a cutout, you just draw in the order form where you want that cutout, and then you'll see it appear right there. We can do our laterals up to 8 inches in depth. So you can get really custom with it, or you can have them as small as 3 inches. So on the order tool, as you're going through it, you'll see where it prompts you if you want like a more custom or more in-depth version of Bondar, you go to like a level 2, or if you want it to be more basic, and you can go to like a level 1 where you just adjust the width on the back. So it can be pretty minimal, or we can get very custom with it. And right now we do have two options for foam. You can do our really dense XLPE foam, which is about half an inch thick. And then we also have our polyurethane, which is about 1 inch thick. Excuse me. And then this is the Bondar, the Launchpad once it's going. So that just it shows you that like as you're customizing it, that model right there will actually adjust with your customizations as you're going. So we're hearing that's really beneficial in the field to be able to get that visual of the back that you're going to be ordering. Any questions on the back so far? We do have different mounting options. So as you can see in the picture here, we do have an adapter plate mount. So if you have a power wheelchair, we can mount it directly onto the to the power wheelchair with the adapter plate. We have two different mounts for manual wheelchairs. We have a fixed cane mount, as well as our quick release hardware for the cane mounts. And then we also offer dual hardware for both for backs that exceed 20 inches in width. Or go over 250 pounds. And that's just like the hardware on the back. So it's really easy to adjust. We have that elevator to really adjust for height. Nice. And you can get some side to side adjustments. This is our fixed hardware right there. We can see it mounts directly onto the cane on the back. And right there also in the cover, we had it designed by one of our colleagues who's an end user herself. And she designed it and thinking about how she wanted her back to be more have more storage. She could go in the airport and like clip her luggage to the back of it and have it just be more accessible in that sense to her. And you could also mount the control unit of the Orbiter Med really nice in the pouch on the back. There's like a zipper pouch that it fits in perfectly too. So right now, the order forms are separated for Orbiter Med and Bondar, but we are working at getting them on the same order form here shortly to make it easier for the ordering process. But Bondar it's a relatively new product, so we're still getting out there and in servicing it and showing clinicians and ATPs. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to also reach out to your local independent reps that we have in your area to set up an in service. And then myself and Andy typically will go out and do the first couple in services at least for Bondar with our reps. So it'll be nice to get out there and educate on the product because the order tool it's a game changer. I think it really does alleviate a lot of the time for like evaluations and coming back for another meeting, and you get that model right there in real time. But if there's no other questions on the Bondar, we can transition to the second product that we launched, which is our booster. So booster came to be from, we were hearing a lot of issues in the field that just no matter how good the quality of care was, how much education you did, with a lot of the air flotation cushions, keeping them properly inflated and educating on how much inflation level there should be has always been a big heartache for clinicians. So we went out and made a device that will maintain and manage your clinically set pressure relative to that patient for a static air cushion. So you're able to go in there using our booster clinician mode and set the pressure you want up for a completely flat air cushion. So you can inflate it, do your 2-finger check, and then save that pressure using the booster. And then that booster is going to maintain and manage that set pressure. So if you're out and about and you accidentally pop your air cushion, the booster will alert you that there's been a leak detected. Then it will keep inflating and inflating to make sure that you're at your same set level, even with that leak detected. So it takes all the technology that we had in Orbiter Med and put it into a smaller device. It won't do the reliefs and sensing for you in that sense, but it's going to have the ambient sensors and it's going to allow you to adjust and set that pressure. So there is a pump, there's a vent inside the booster. So you don't have to like inflate it with a pump and then put the booster on. You can use the booster as your pump from a completely flat air cushion. So we have seen the booster be a real game changer across the board. It is a little bit lower in the price range, so it's not coded for Medicare reimbursement. It's miscellaneous KO 108. And this is the app right here. So if you want to use the phone app with the booster, our Kalogon app is also compatible with booster. And you can see in here where you have your set pressure, and then that live bar underneath is where like the live pressure is inside that cushion right there. And then if you wanted to add pressure, you just can raise that bar up, or you can go on the clinician mode on the device itself and add pressure that way. So in case you have someone that doesn't use a smartphone every day, they don't even have to know about the app, and you can set the device up once in clinician mode. And then unless they know how to get into clinician mode, that's kind of how the booster does lock out users in that sense, where we have the clinician mode. And then in the app, for any clinicians in here, if your user does get the app and tries to adjust their pressure, it'll actually give them a pop-up that says, are you sure you want to override your clinically set pressure? Then they have to like hit yes, confirm I want to override my pressure. So we try to make it so if they go in there and accidentally adjust their pressure, it gives them that pop-up so it won't change. But they are still able to change that with the app. And I know I've been talking a lot. Does anybody have any questions about Booster? It's a really neat device. Charging wise, it's USB-C charging, so you can just use a portable power bank. Just have a USB-C charger for like your cell phone, and you can charge it that way. I have a lot of people that have it little USB port on their wheelchair, and they have it plugged in, just charging it 24/7. And the booster itself has a 7-day battery life. And then we just recommend charging it probably every 5 to 6 days, and it takes about 4 hours to get the full charge from a dead booster.
And with that, it's also really important to remember with the Orbiter Med to use the included charger. I know we've had some
Yes,
folks who have not used the correct charger, like a laptop charger or something like that. It just can cause some problems. So
100%.
yeah.
Doug, for the booster, so it's compatible with any single-celled air cushion. We don't have any exclusivity with any company out there that it can work with. because the pressure is going to be relative to that patient in that cushion. So the clinician will set it up. So it might be different for me than different from Andy, even if we're sitting on the same cushion because of our bodies and how much we weigh. I'm not saying anything about you, Andy. But yeah, so it is compatible with any single celled static air cushion on the market. Yeah, you just leave the valve open, and then the booster is able to add pressure, take it away whenever it notices a change. Because it also has those ambient sensors. So if you set it up in a nice clinic where it's nice AC, and then go outside and it's freezing cold or super hot, it's going to adjust the pressure a little bit from temperature, and the booster will sense that. I actually have my booster in my car sometimes, and when I open and close my car door, you can actually hear the booster like chime on and vibrate because of the pressure change just from opening the car door. So it's pretty sensitive, and you can also go in the app and adjust the sensitivity if you didn't want it to be, that sensitive to little changes in the atmosphere and stuff.
You can also adjust the alert volumes in the app as well, too, if you want it to be
Yes.
kind of quieter.
Yes. So Dominic, for your question for the sound levels, you can go in the app and you can like go from 100 being max all the way down to like 0, where it's no sound at all. So it really is up to you if you want to have those alerts on or off. And then on the booster itself, if you want to silence the alerts for about 30 minutes, you can click that silence button on there, and it also will silence them briefly for a little bit. I was at a conference. I normally have my booster in office to show you guys, so you could hear the sound. But it's actually like a voice that comes on and it'll tell you, like, say you kink your valve, it'll say air hose blocked. So it's like an actual voice from one of our colleagues here at Kalogon that did it. Shout out to Heather. But great question so far. And then does anyone have any other questions about booster or Bondar or Orbiter Med? Oh, do you have any clinical trials? So yeah, we I don't know if we do have a couple of case studies that we can share out, Cody. Um, electronics or pumps fail in the med cushion. Does the cushion provide a safe baseline
Yep.
support?
So the med, it has a closed valve system. So if the battery, if there was any sort of issue, it would actually lock in those prescribed pressure levels and maintain that pressure level to prevent the bottoming out. Um, and maintenance, it really depends on what type of maintenance. I know we can handle a lot of it ourselves as well, but if it requires like, something in the field, that's something that we can definitely collaborate with an ATP as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the ATPs, sometimes techs will go out there and do some little servicing, and then they'll rope us in as well when they have any issues in the field. How long does it maintain the baseline level? So for like Orbiter Med, as long as you have the air hose attached to the control unit, you won't lose air pressure until you undo the air hose. Unless there's like a micro leak somewhere and starts leaking out over time, there shouldn't be any air loss until you undo that air hose with the control unit. And then back on Bondar from Doug. Mounting bracket. What manufacturer is it compatible with? Is there a vertical adjustment built into the bracket? So for the mounting bracket for power wheelchairs, I know that our engineers did like a universal adapter plate that you can adjust for the vertical adjustments in there as well. You can, I know there's a bunch of different like holes they drilled on it. I don't know if we have any pictures of the adapter plate on here, but that's something that we can share as well. Yeah, so that's the adapter plate up top there. So we have different attachments for different wheelchairs. I know the engineering team is going to be working with some different manufacturers to get like specific mounting for like their wheelchairs. No, great
These are
questions.
all, yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah. Right now we're seeing a good amount of Bondars going on tilt and space chairs too, like the manual tilt and spaces. We've seen a couple power wheelchairs so far, but it's very early on. So that's where the engineering team is going to be trying to work with some of the manufacturers to make sure that those adapter plates are compatible with the new wheelchairs coming out in the market.
Yeah, I think if no one else has any other questions,
And
give
we
it
can
just one more minute.
Yeah, if you want to, I know we'll have everyone's emails from this. So we can follow up because you guys sent out which where you live, so we can follow up based on territory. But these have been some great questions today, and I'd love to do set some follow ups up after this for some individuals that had some good questions. And I know in the chat we'll share like all our socials where we're gonna be for Tracy read my mind as I was saying that.
There it is.
So everything right there is going to be in the chat. That's our contact information. So feel free to reach out anytime. My email is just Zach@Kalogon, and you can get directly with me. I believe in my signature you'll get my cell phone as well. So reach out to me anytime. We're here to help and answer any questions that you guys may have.
Really appreciate you all taking the time out of your afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Dwayne. Thank you guys so much for joining us
Yeah,
today, and we will follow up here shortly.
have a great day. Talk to you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.